just fascinated with nature as a young boy. So we moved out here and I saw the Pacific Ocean for the first time. I said, oh boy, this is terrific. And I just took off. And I came down this beach for miles, I guess. And I saw this place here. And it just happened to be during the nesting season for the least terns and the snowy plovers. And as I'm walking along, and there were thousands of them, and they were on the ground, these birds, and as I approached them, they would lay this wing out and start chirping and dragging their wing like they were injured. And I said, oh, I saw that on the Walt Disney thing. That's how they get predators away from their eggs and from their little chicks. And so I knew what they were doing. And I said, wow, that's amazing. And then they get to a certain point away from their chicks, and they'd fold their wing up and take off. And I said, oh, that's what they're doing. So I was being very careful to not step on eggs or stuff. And I have to tell you, and I tell everybody, there were thousands of birds nesting here. And when they took off as a flock, I mean, it just covered the sky, the noise they made. I remember as a small child, I was looking up and I said, my God, I could barely see the sky, just there's thousands of birds. I'll give you the Dan Pearson spiel. And it's all true. Every feather.
We have no reason to believe you would be untruthful.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least.
We're at the end of Arnold Road at Ormond Beach, right next to the Navy base, Point Magoo. And this is in the winter, this is usually filled up with water, rainwater, and it's a stopover for about 120 species of birds on the Pacific Flyway coming up from South America and Mexico. And they stop here and eat and rest and then take off for wherever they're going. So what happened over the years was the population of Ventura County increased from 1954 to whenever. And things have just been generally going downhill ever since. There's been dirt bikes, off-road vehicles, poachers, any kind of insult you can imagine occurred out here. And the nesting populations started crumbling. They were down to maybe a good year would be 80 nestings. How many successful, I'm not sure. But they spent a lot of money on counting, and that used to drive Al and I crazy. I said, okay, we've counted. We tell you how many. Everybody knows we need money. We need deputies out here. We need rangers. We need people with ticket books and badges to tell people they can't be wandering around here. The reason we want a big nesting population back is because when there's thousands of birds nesting here, their predators come in, the ravens and the gulls. And the birds would just gang on them. 30, 40 birds would just be picking, and the seagull would just take off, and that's how they had large numbers to protect their chicks and their eggs. 80 nests, 2 or 3 birds, the gull's not going to be deterred and stuff. And so it's difficult for them to build their population back up because they keep coming here. This is where they're from. They come back to where they were born. And it's just kind of reaches a plateau of 80, sometimes less, sometimes no nesting. We've had seasons where there were no successful nests, and the pressure was just unbearable. So there's never enough. Now, in the old days, even before mine time, and that's really old, there were wetlands all up and down the coast here, up to wherever in Mexico and Central America, South America. And these birds just drop in anywhere and rest and eat and do what they're doing and stuff. I think, and I'm not sure how accurate this is, but about, well, I'll say over 90% of the wetlands in California have been drained and developed. And they're, because people want beach property. They want to live next to the ocean. I don't blame them. I do too. But what's happened over the decades, and I think especially since World War II, post-war years, these wetlands were developed because they were gold mines for developers and construction and all of that. Very few were left. Now there's a least term nesting site on Point Magoo, which is pretty good because nobody goes there. They can't get on. And the Navy is takes great pains to, see that it's not disturbed. They put signs up. Same thing for North Island in San Diego. They have a fenced off area for the least terns and a big sign says, by order of the commanding officer. No one goes on here. I mean, boy, if anybody got caught, they'd be in a lot of trouble. And but this place didn't have that protection. They want the land. They want to make money. I understand, but at some point, you have to stop. We can't. Well, I'm not a developer. I don't have a family and a second home. So I don't have a lot of things. But these people, a lot of these companies are from Beverly Hills, Los Angeles and stuff, development companies. And they come up here and for years, the city council welcomed them and there was a lot of development here and stuff. And now from Arnold Road over to the old mushroom plant, they want to develop that for houses and stuff. It's a constant struggle. The pressure is constant because our population in this country is still growing, especially even in California. A lot of people are leaving California, like me, as financial refugees or something, but there's still a lot of people here and they need recreation and they need space and stuff like that. But so do the least terns. The least terns were here first. I don't know that means anything to anybody. This place needs to be a place for these birds to raise their young. They're compelled to do it, and they're just not having very much luck with it right now, and they just need a little help. What I know is, and I know because I've met people like Al Sanders and his friends, and Christina Zubko and her friends, and Walter Fuller, and me, and several others, the people who I went to high school with that are the same ilk as me. They're all deep ecologists like I am. They're convinced this place can get restored to its original pristine thing the way I saw it as a young boy. And that's why I put in the effort, write letters, editorials, magazine articles, everything I can to put as much positive spin on that hope. I'm so glad to see all these changes. I'm glad to see, even though we need more change and more work here, what I see here now is very comforting. It's much, much better than when I was living out here and trying to keep pressure on it, even though I had to go to work during the day. I'd come home in the afternoon, I'd see couches in the ditch and trash, dumped off at the end of Arnold Road and stuff. Boy, Walter out here, that doesn't happen anymore. It happens closer to Hueneme Road where you can't see around the bend, but it doesn't happen around here anymore. He's fantastic. And I'm glad. So now with Walter and some of the things that Friends of Ormond Beach with Christina Zubko and her group are doing and getting some people interested, the property owners out here, the project partners for the restoration of Ormond Beach and environmental impact reports being done and stuff like that. It looks like we're turning the point and we're going to try to turn this place into a nature preserve. And we're going to try to annex it to either the Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area, or we're going to try to annex it to the Channel Islands National Park, which would be like a feather in their cap because it would increase visits to the islands. And this could become, what do you call it, like an ecotourist spot. If we've got like thousands of birds, I mean, the birders would show up, because they would come here and see birds that they would rarely have a chance to see because they stop here and rest on their way north or south. So it's a worthwhile effort, and if it could be returned to what I saw, that I had, I feel so privileged. As a young boy, I saw it in its natural, pristine, undisturbed state. 1954. I can't believe I'm that old, and but I am. And it was a privilege, and I never forgot it. It had quite an impact on me.